everybody, this is Tuesdee Dawkins with Tarnished and Tattered, and we are going to be talking about all the rave of mason jars. There are so many purposes and ideas that you can use with mason jars, things that you can create, things that are as simple as just cleaning them up and putting them in your home. So we are going to get started. I've got several ideas for you today. I hope that you will give one or two of them a try. And if you're not brave enough, then come out in October to the barn and we'll have plenty of them available for you. First of all, so that they will dry, I'm going to show you how to paint mason jars. Now, before you ever start, you need to really wash your mason jars. So I put them in my dishwasher on the long wash and really let them sanitize and sterilize, because really most of them have probably been in a barn or in a box somewhere for a long time. So you get them in there, and some of them will still have some stains on them, like this one has like a rust stain on the inside, and that's okay because we're going to chalk paint it. It's going to be chalk painted on the outside, so that won't matter, but you've got to get the gunk off of the outside. If you have anything that's sticky on them, again, I've said this in past shows, take rubbing alcohol and rub them real good. That'll get any price tags or stickers that would be on there and take the gunk off. So if you had that, use rubbing alcohol first. Okay, so we are going to give them a first coat. This I got at Walmart. It is Rust-Oleum chalked. It has 3 colors right now, or 4 colors, I believe. It has this, my favorite, which is the chiffon cream. There is a bright white, which is pretty, but to me it's just too white. And then there's a pretty blue, and then there's a gray, a soft gray. The trick of this is to definitely get it all shook up, and then really be patient with spray paint, and even more so with this one, and you will get this chalk effect. Now, when I first started doing these, I did the brush on chalk paint. I thought I was going to go insane. Some people really like it. Some people don't mind the brush strokes. It drove me crazy. I called my partner, Dawn Fawner, and I said, "Have you painted mason jars?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I said, "I can't stand it. I don't think I'm going to do it." I found this. This was my saving grace. So I think you'll really like this. But if brushing it works for you, then fantastic. Okay, so we're going to give this a light coat. Again, outside, has to be outside. No humidity, no rain. Today is the perfect day to do this. So when you're doing projects like this, pick your projects on what kind of weather you're having. Polying only on good sunny days, painting on good sunny days, sanding outside and cutting. And then on those nasty rainy days, paint your boards or something inside with the stencils and design your projects. So you're always using your time wisely. Okay, so here we go. Good thing to have one specific place designated. This board has probably got 50 coats of paint on it, different kinds of paint, but it doesn't matter. It's where I do my painting. Give it a little thing in the top. Okay, there's going to be our one coat. After that dries, we'll come back. We'll probably flip it over so we get the bottom. And I usually do about 3 to 4 coats, okay? Just depends on how much coverage you really get. On a windy day, today's great. It's not windy at all. On a windy day, you have to do more because it blows more of it off. So here I have some that I've already done, different styles. Here's our wide mouth. This one is completely covered. Coated. This is a regular pint. This is a regular quart. And then this one It's just a really, I love this design. I think it was one of the larger jelly jars. Somebody out there is probably saying she doesn't know what she's talking about, and I'm sorry, but it's just, I only have one of them at this point. So I really like it, and I have a great project we're gonna do with this shape. Then you also have the blue ones. I absolutely love the blue ones. And my daughter, she looked up the different eras as to, you can tell how old they are by how ball is spelt. That was really interesting to see how old some of the jars that we have are. I don't paint any of my blue ones, of course, keep those authentic and original. This box is one way to display the pretty blue ones. And maybe, you know, if you painted some of them different colors. They also have a sea glass, and if you wanted to experiment with that, I have not done that yet, a clear jar, you could do that. But this was an old box that came out of someone's garage I picked. And it had some nasty green, and over that was silver and grease and all kinds of stuff. So I sanded it all down, put a new little handle on it, and put these in here. We're gonna put some different flowers in it, and it's a cute little thing to go on the table. So that's something that you can do with mason jars. Again, these look cute on any shelf, no matter what. So what we're gonna do next is I'm gonna show you, after you get your jars completely covered and painted, then we are gonna distress them. So you're gonna take a fine sandpaper, and where it says ball and mason, you're just going to start sanding and hit the raised places. Try to do this outside because it makes a mess. If you mess it up and you get too much off, guess what? Spray it again. Don't get stressed out over, oh my gosh, did I get too much, or am I getting it in the wrong places? Okay, then we turn it. This is where it's got the little milliliters on it, but it's also got down here the Made in USA. So I really like to get that Made in USA and get that really good. And a little bit of that rim that goes around the bottom. You don't have to get all of it. Of course, the raised place here with the edges, with the numbers. A lot of the newer ones have the fruit design. This I just kind of hit a little. Over here it's got measurements again. Okay, I always get the rim, the edge, most of it. You don't have to get it all. Your preference. Now then, if these jars were sitting side by side, they would rub together a little bit. If you want to make them look like they've been used and a little more vintage, then you can kind of rub off just a little bit here and there. And that's about as hard as it is. It took me like an hour to paint the one with the brush. That might have been me. Somebody else might not have any problems. But now, uses for this, Here's one that I did with the blue. I set this on my countertop by my stove, and I put either spatulas or my wooden spoons, my wooden utensils in it. I did this one for spring, had it there for Easter, and it'll go through spring and summer, and then I'll swap it out. I'm hoping that they come out with maybe some fall colors of this chalk paint. We'll wait and see, but I would imagine that they will. Another really neat little thing that I was really happy how it turned out was making a little herb garden. Now, with my herb garden, I had this really large jar. This is the one I painted with the brush. If they zoom in, you'll be able to see the brush strokes. That was the reason that I didn't like it. It's a little more solid, I would say, but I can see the brush strokes. First one ever I did, but it looks fine, just not my favorite. But I do love the size. And I have lemongrass in here. And it is just flourishing. It's been in here for about a month and a half, and it's really grown. And it smells just like lemon. So it's so nice and fresh. Then this one is rosemary. You can see it's kind of headed towards the sun. So it's in one of the ones that I used the spray paint. Got it in the little box. And then my basil, which I absolutely love. And so you can do little displays with these. Something very simple. A couple of old books. This is the way it's displayed in my home. So I have these in the box, the old books, a little old frame that's been painted and distressed. And then a little garnishment that disappeared. Oh, here it is. A little angel wing that you can place wherever you want. But you can put that on a table. It has to be in the sunlight for your herbs to grow. You could pick any herbs. I have cilantro also, but it wasn't doing quite so well. So, but you can have your own herb garden, whatever you use. I mean, these are actually usable. I will use my basil quite a bit, rosemary some. This is really just for smell. It doesn't give off a ton of smell, but when you get close to it, it does, and plus it just looks great. So this is, again, another purpose for your mason jars. All right, so I hope you'll give a little herb garden a try. Like I said, I have a plan for this one. So we're going to distress it. We're going to rub off. Okay, so this one, we just really want to get those letters good because there's not a lot of writing on this one. So we want to make sure this shows up. You ever had your rough edges sanded down? I know I have. It don't feel good at the time, but it always ends up making us a little bit better person. I used to have a person that I used to call my spiritual sandpaper. We just rubbed each other wrong. But you know what? He was right, and it ended up making me a better person. And now when I see that person, we are, we just smile and laugh and joke around. Sometimes God puts people in our path to show us something that He's trying to tell us. So don't always fight that. Sometimes we just need to turn on our hearing a little bit better and listen to what's going on. Okay, on the back it has a few markings. I just love this size and shape. Anywhere you see something a little raised, you might just want to hit it. Gonna do the rim pretty good, just again, because there's not a whole lot on this jar that is gonna be distressed. Okay. Well, you guys are gonna get to see if this works or not, because I haven't tried this. I've been wanting to do this project for a while, and I've put it on hold. So this is a very old window that I sanded down. The window was actually broken, so it's supposed to go this way, but I like it this way. And so I'm going to use twine, and I'm going to hang this in the middle with twine, and then put some preserved boxwood or bittersweet, maybe some magnolia. Today I have the boxwood preserved. That's all I have preserved today, so we're gonna go with that today. So let's see if this works. I'm hoping it will turn out to be really neat. The thing about this is, by turning the jar, and I think you'll be able to do that with the twine, you can either have it less distressed or the more rustic. I'm gonna go with the more rustic. So I have the twine, and this stuff always gets tangled up. I don't know how. And we're going to wrap it around several times. We don't want to get up here in the rim. We want that to show. So we're going to stay down below that lip. I'm thinking 3 times is good. I'm going to tie a knot in the back. I'm going to cut this first. Couple of first live. I don't know. Someone should check and see my sanity today. Okay, now I'm going to run this up on this side and on the opposite side, and again tie it. Such a beautiful day. I need to keep them level. Okay. So, I gotta decide how long I want this. And what do we think? Up some, down. I think up. All right, so let's go with that. So now I'm going to lay it down, and I'm going to use the staple gun. And then I think that's looking level. I'm eyeballing this. Checking my twine from the edges of my frame, the right amount of inches. I'm going to use my staple gun. Before I cut off the excess, I want to check it out. Let's see if we're even. And I don't feel like we are. There we are. Okay. So, can now trim Let's get some greenery for it. Whatever you would want to put in here. Fresh flowers, if it was fall, you could change this from Christmas to fall to spring, whatever you wanted to put in it. And then you can hang this on the wall. And I think it made absolutely adorable. Okay, so now we are going to make one that has 3. So let's see how that works out. I had to try one and make sure it was going to work right. So here's the one we're going to do 3. We are going to use these pints. Let's go back over here though, and let's give our jars another coat. We're going to flip them over. I just kind of always spray it every time I pass by. I have several jars at one time that I'm doing. You know, I'll have this whole area covered in jars. Not completely covered so that I can get to each one, but I'll have 8, 9, 10 jars, different sizes. And just as I'm walking back and forth to the barn or working on another project, and then just trying very hard to be patient. Give them a little coat, and then go on to my next project. Okay, so my idea on this was to have 2 short ones and 1 little bit longer one. I've got 1 pint already sanded, 2. So that's good. We're going to sand 1 more down. No, we're going to use this one. Look, there's a surprise on this one. And that is just cute. It says Black-Eyed Susan. What a sweet little surprise. Don't forget to take time to look for those surprises in the day. God gives us blessings every single day, all the time. And we get so busy in life and look at all the negatives that's going on in our life that we shut out all the blessings that are around us. We wouldn't always be so stressed out and down the dumps if we'd take time to look at all the good things that's going on in our life. And there is good. I know some people are going through some really ugly and bad, sad things right now. There are good things. God loves you. When you're doing this, you might want to wear gloves and not be like me, because my hands are going to be torn up. And something that I wouldn't do normally is I'm going to turn this jar around backwards so that we can actually see this little Black-Eyed Susan flower. And then we'll have the ball on the other 2. This is an old window frame. It was actually broken. The window was gone, of course, and this piece was gone. It was flopping. Could have very easily been discarded and thrown in the dumpster. But wait and see the beauty it is going to bring to someone's home, if not mine. That's the hard part, wanting to keep everything. Okay, so I'm going to cut 2 pieces of twine the same size. That way I will know this 2 are going to be even. I think twice around will be good with this because they're going to be so short. I really hope you're getting some ideas and that you will be brave enough and adventurous enough to give it a try. But like I said, if you're not, we will have a lot of beautiful things at the barn, October 13th and 14th. And if you haven't already, follow us on Facebook, Tarnished and Tattered. All right, got one ready. Let's get this second one. I hope some of you have been able to get out and have wonderful family times this weather. All right, so we are going to go ahead and secure these to the window. Making sure to get them even. Well, making sure that we leave room for our longer one, because we're going to put the Black-Eyed Susan down here in the middle. So we're going to make sure we have our tape measure here. Kind of measure where we're at. Put that one at 5. Okay. Staple gun. Don't be afraid to use staple guns. Sometimes they're a little hard to push down, but they're fairly easy to use. Pull tension on your twine so that you know that it's even. I like to measure and measure and measure, like 3 times to make sure I'm right. I'm going to double check it by turning it around. Sometimes there can be an optical illusion and it looks like it's long enough or too long. The measurements should be right. We'll see when we hold it up, right? There we go, pretty close, I'd say. All right, the other one is going to be just a tad longer. Showing the little Black-Eyed Susan. I would say that's probably a newer jar. I don't really know. That would be interesting to know. And see how this is all trial and error. I've never done this before. So, make a mistake. At least you'll be in the privacy of your own home and not having somebody film you. But it's okay. Can always be fixed. Rolly. Now I think I would like this twine to match up and just kind of go to the other twine. So I'm going to have a wide crossover here. So I'm going to staple it over the other twine. Put a little tension on it to make sure it's going to be, although I don't want it all the way down, so. Tweak it just a little. So I'm going to make this one just a little slightly tighter. Before I cut my strings, I want to see if it's the way I like it. I think we're pretty good. So now we'll trim and then put our greenery in. The only reason I'm using wire cutters is because I didn't bring my scissors out. But nice to know wire cutters cut twine, huh? Okay, I keep using all of my greenery, but at least we'll get an idea. There you go. Another mason jar project for the wall. I would put a lot more greenery in it to fill it up, but as you can see, made a cute little project. Just out of mason jars and an old window frame that was falling apart that I just screwed back together, sanded down and stained. I left it the original colors. So there's another project. One more mason jar project before we leave. Okay, this one we're going to use just one of these rings that they use as fittings for all kinds of different things, but hose clamps. And ahead of time, I went ahead and took a nail where I wanted this to fit onto my plank, which I've also already sanded and varnished. And we're going to screw this to this. Now, there's different ways of doing this, and I don't know if you can see the ones behind me, but I will come back to this part. These are rusted, and I didn't rust this one. This one's going to stay the same, but these I just hit with the Works toilet bowl cleaner and left outside for a couple days. And that is what rusted these and gave them an old look. And then I just screwed them to this old rotted piece of cedar that I had polyed several times. And then put my jars in. These are actually the Kerr jars. So ahead of time I measured, and what you do with this is, right here it has a little screw, so you would tighten it to measure your jar. So you just keep sizing it until you know that it's gonna slide in easily and fit your jar, okay? But before we're gonna put our jar on, I'm gonna loosen it up some so I don't scrape my paint off. So I took a nail like this. I found where I would want it to be screwed onto my board, and in the crease of my table or wherever you would want to nail, I just in these little bitty slats that you can see in these. Now, you can get these at Lowe's and any hardware store, and they're very inexpensive. And I just put the nail in and hammered it through, and then twisted it back and forth to make a big enough hole that I would be able to screw it to the plank. Okay, so there I have my screw ready and in my clamp. So I'm going to just give my screw a little bang where I think I want it on my plank. And then you're going to use a drill. So while holding your clamp in place, put your little screw in there. Hard at that angle, it doesn't like to hit. And we screwed it to the table. See what happens on live TV? All right, now we'll try that again. I'll have to Dremel that off. Now, this one has not been sanded, so do that real quick. And it's always best not to wear your best clothes when you're doing these projects. Slide that in, and had I done this before, you would put your little hanger on the back so that you could hang this on the wall. You could either put a large tapered or a pillar candle in this, or you could put greenery. You could even put this in the kitchen and put like silverware, utensils. I mean, it's really limitless. You could use this for anything. So another idea for those mason jars. You know, if grandma is always canning and giving you homemade salsa and spaghetti sauce and green beans and corn and all of those things, this is another purpose. Or you know what? What about if you make something like this and give back to her after she's given you all of those goodies? I think she would really be excited about it. And make one for yourself too, because then one day grandma or mom might not be there and you'll have that jar from that time and you can look back and remember, you know, she always was making us something. So that's another little momentum, so something to remember and keep forever. So just going to show you a couple of ideas before we go today. Here's another one with the rusted clamp and the wide mouth. Again, these are wide mouths that I've been using. You can use the smaller ones, but you'll need to use twine. But for the clamps, you'll want to use a wide mouth. But here's a bigger plank. And then this one is actually nothing to do with a mason jar, but you could sit a mason jar on it. I have a little milk bottle on it. But these planks that can be used for multiple purposes. I hope you have enjoyed my ideas that you can do with mason jars. There are countless things that you can do with them. I hope you will give it a try, maybe come up with your own, but enjoy it and know that there's no right or wrong. And most of all, have fun, share it with others, and find the good in the day. Thank you, and have a wonderful, blessed day.